I'm Mayor Ed Zabrocki from the Village of Tinley Park, and welcome once again to In Touch with Tinley. This evening we have an opportunity to talk to Pat Carr, who is our EMA Director, and has been with us since 2005. And many people see EMA on the website here in Tinley, on perhaps some of their vehicles around town, and they see some of the EMA personnel helping us out with various different activities, parades, and things like this. And often wonder, what does EMA stand for? Well, we're here this evening to tell you exactly what that stands for and what kind of volunteer activities they provide for the Village of Tinley Park. Pat, thanks for coming up. Good to see you here tonight.
Mayor.
Tell us a little bit about EMA, but before we get into that, who's Pat Carr?
Well, Pat Carr's been a resident of Tinley Park since 1999 and started working with the village in 2005, December of 2005, so coming up on my 10-year anniversary. And I absolutely love my job. Love serving the people at Tinley Park, see the immediate impact of some of the work that we all do with emergency management and then the whole public safety team. So it's a great feeling of giving back to the community. I spent 23 years in the Air Force, and
Let's spend a little bit of time on that. You got kind of an interesting career in the Air Force. Tell us a little bit about it.
I spent 23 years in the Air Force, in the regular Air Force, active duty, reserve, and guard, and retired in 2008. And had the opportunity to travel all over the world, participated in a few campaigns, and you see some of the things you do, but it's more on a global level. Coming to Tinley Park, had the ability to give back to the community and see immediate impacts of things that the public safety team and the village does that assist residents. Something that you don't always see when you're in the military and you're more on a global scale. So it's a job that I get great satisfaction of, again, giving back to the community and seeing how the village and the public safety agencies are able to help the citizens of Tinley Park.
Great. Well, first of all, let me thank you for the service, for your service to our nation. We appreciate it a great deal. I understand you were also a crew chief on B-52s.
Yeah, that's where I actually started my career, was on B-52s as a crew chief. So, 18 years old, they stick you out on a B-52 loaded with nuclear weapons, and it's quite a responsibility. It was an awesome responsibility, but enjoyed every minute of it. Received a lot of training as related to core values and service and different things like that, and a lot of that stuff transferred to my job here in Tinley Park.
Fantastic. EMA, what does it stand for?
Emergency Management Agency. It's an organization that's been with the village since the 50s. Started as ESDA, was the initial name of it. And then it sort of evolved, specifically after 9/11, 2001. And most recently, we assumed responsibility for the 911 center. So the 911 center now falls underneath emergency management. And it sort of goes hand in hand in what emergency management does, and that is we coordinate all the functions within the village of Tinley Park, all the public safety agencies, to address the different...
By public safety agencies, let's define what those are.
Public safety agencies are police, fire, EMS, and then also public works. Public works is sort of the unsung hero of public safety, and a lot of people don't realize. You have a broken water main, different things in the street, different things like that.
So in a sense, they're part of the first responders.
Absolutely. Public Works are first responders, and again, it's part of that whole concept that we work with within the Village of Tinley Park, that team concept, and coordinate all those functions. So we have to address any type of given incident. We're all working together as a team.
Now, I know EMA is not unique to Tinley Park. How does the Tinley Park EMA interface with other communities in the state and on the federal level?
That's a great question. A lot of my job, day-to-day job, is liaison, between these different communities, also with the county, the state, and the federal government. We are an accredited agency within the state of Illinois, so every 2 years we are certified by the county and the state as relates to our emergency operations plan. Given that, part of that job is to make sure we have these relationships built up with other communities, with the county, with the state, and the federal government, in case there is a need that we have to use them. If we have a situation within the Village of Tinley Park and it grows outside of our capability, we want the ability to reach out to other neighbors, the county or the state, to assist us in fighting that incident.
Well, let me give you a quick example. We're taping this in mid-April. where there was a very disastrous tornado up north of us. I would assume in the town of Fairdale, the EMA responsible for that area was kind of the lead agency in tying a lot of these things together.
Absolutely. I mean, they're some of the first people on the scene, and they're the ones that are helping set up those initial spots for all of the other communities and departments and agencies that are coming into and funneling into Fairdale and that area. You know, they're there to help, you know, set up the staging areas. And really one of the, you know, the main responsibilities they also have to do is to managing the volunteers and the donations, as we all seen in the news. Whenever an incident happens, you know, there is an outpouring of support of, you know, financial goods, different things like that, but it becomes so massive and it can overwhelm a municipality or agencies.
Which is what's happening up there right now. Yeah.
So, you know, the emergency management agencies take part in a lot of that, of organizing and working with the different, you know, nonprofits and non-governmental groups out there, Red Cross, different things like that, so they can help organize and manage that flow of goods and donations.
Now, we talked a bit about Pat Carr from the standpoint of your experience with the Air Force and things like this. And those kind of hands-on experiences are obviously extremely important. And what kind of formal education have you had to kind of prepare you for this?
You know, I I attended Lewis University, received my bachelor's in aviation, and then I'm in the process of finishing up my master's degree in public safety administration with Lewis University also. But part of my duties and part of our state accreditation is maintaining, you know, currency and training. So, you know, there's training that I attend every month that's required by the state, and it's different incident command type training, training on, you know, whether it's medical emergencies, different things like that. So there's required training that we're supposed to take part in to maintain our level of currency within the field.
To keep it all up to date and all
Correct.
those other good things. Now, there's probably 4 or 5, you know, specific items that I want to, you know, ask you about as we go along here. But our own EMA here in Tinley, how big is it? How does it function? Where does it function? If somebody wants to be a part of it, what do they need to do? And what kind of, do they have to have any kind of experience to join the Tinley Park EMA?
I mean, really, the only experience that we look for is that you know, you're a resident of Tinley Park, you're 21 years old, and you know, we take anybody that's willing to help, and it's about volunteering, and it's about, you know, coming out at 3 o'clock in the morning when you get called to assist the police or the fire departments on a traffic accident or on a fire. So we're looking for people that want to, you know, give back to the community, that want to help. If they have a background in emergency management or public safety, that's all the better for us. But we provide training. We send people through training. We have our own training, you know, type of academy. And, you know, really we welcome people that want to serve. And what they could do is they could call, you know, 708-444-5600.
Repeat that number again.
That is 708-444-5600. Or they could visit the Tinley Park website. And on there, they could click on our webpage there and find out any information they want. So
Great.
we welcome. We currently have about 15 members that are on our roster. And those members are very active. You see them out on different traffic control. You see them out, as you said, on the parades. But they're also out there on the traffic accidents. They're out there on I-80 assisting with, you know, rollover accidents, trying to funnel traffic away from it. So they're a very active agency and a great team of volunteers that come out and want to serve the village.
Part of the EMA is something called the Command Center, which is in the bottom of the old Village Hall by Station 1. Tell us a little bit about the purpose of it and how it operates in case of an emergency. We've used it a couple of times with snow situations and weather situations.
Absolutely. It's called our Emergency Operations Center, and it's in the basement of the 911 Center, or the Public Safety Building. And down there we have the ability to, you know, basically run all functions of government down there. If we have to bring the trustees, yourself down there, we're all hooked up into our network with all of our computers, with all the cameras in the village, and we function so it's an area that we're able to work as a team on a given incident, to have all the prime players in the village to make those decisions. And it's more or less a room that we can operate you know, in private to address any type of incidents that are out there. And we also use it for a training room. But as you've seen it, it has the computers, it has the big video screens, different things like that.
Doppler radar.
We have
all
the
those
radar. We have a backup radio system for the 911 center. It's where our tornado siren system is located down there. So it's more or less like a command center for major emergencies that we could go down there and we could all operate as a team down there to make key decisions as relates to any given emergency that's out there.
Now, one of your responsibilities is the 911 center. Let's explain what a 911 center is and how it operates and what's its purpose.
Absolutely. The 911 center is our public safety answering point for the village of Tinley Park. That's where all of our emergency and non-emergency calls come in.
That's the 911 call and the 532 911 calls.
Correct.
There you go. Okay.
That's where everything comes in. That's where everything starts. You know, that's where our truly first responders are. You know, our 911 dispatchers in there are the front line of any given incident or emergency that's out there.
And they're the lifeline also between the policeman and help if he needs it.
Absolutely. I mean, they're there to provide that guidance for that first responder. They're there to provide that guidance or that consoling for that person on the other line. So it's a very difficult job. We receive close to 50,000 emergency and non-emergency, almost close to 50,000 emergency and non-emergency calls. In addition to that, we have close to 6,000 EMS calls that come through our 911 center. So our dispatchers handle quite a bit of call traffic, and it's just for the village of Tinley Park. In addition to that, they monitor a lot of stuff as it relates to you know, the AeroMed units, the helicopters, public safety helicopters, different things like that. So they are a dispatch center that is very well versed in multitasking, very highly trained, and very professional. And as you said, I mean, they are the lifeline, and they're there for the first responder, and they're there for the citizen because they're the first ones that are getting that information on that given emergency.
You mentioned helicopters and helipads. We have one. It's Tango Zebra.
Tango Foxtrot 8.
Tango Foxtrot 8.
Right.
Tell us about Tango Foxtrot 8.
Well, the village of Tinley Park, and many people don't really know, has a public use helipad. And, you know, sometimes we do get phone calls in the 911 center about helicopters flying overhead or possibly landing at our helipad. And it is a public use helipad. And we get military traffic, we get law enforcement traffic, we get AeroMed traffic, and also we get traffic for private citizens that come and bring their helicopter and land there for conventions at the convention center. They come and land there for concerts, different things like that. So it's a public use helipad, and sometimes people see that traffic going around and might startle a few people, but it's all safe and you know, we monitor it on a daily basis, and sometimes that's what people might see is they'll see those helicopters. But we're also in the path of Midway Airport, so we get a lot of helicopter traffic that just crisscrosses our community also that go into Midway Airport.
Now, as part of your job description, it also deals with our ambulance service. Now, how does that work within your purview?
Sure. Under emergency management, you know, the village ambulance falls underneath our department. It's separate from the fire service. Just recently, we started back in August where we started housing the ambulances within the fire stations. So what we do is we have a contract service. It's with Kurt's Ambulance. Our prior ambulance company was Traced, and you know, we maintain 5 ambulances, you know, during a 24-hour period. And it is working in conjunction with the fire department. This is something, as I mentioned, is new. They fall underneath the fire department chain of command within the firehouses, and again, working part of that public safety team. But it is a separate entity since it is a contract service.
One of the contact points for EMA and public safety here in Tinley Park is something called City Watch. Now, not everybody is involved in City Watch, which we hope more and more citizens do become involved and get tied into it. Exactly what does City Watch do, and how does it help the John Q. Citizen?
Sure. City Watch is a reverse 911 type of system that is able to call residents, and a lot of the residents are in a portion of City Watch because of a water bill. So if they have a water bill, they're automatically put into the City Watch system as it relates to their landline or whatever contact information. We also have on our website where somebody could go in and sign up for emergency text messages or emergency emails.
For example, what would be some of the emergencies that you might put out?
What we would put out is, most recently here in April, we had the severe thunderstorms. So we'll put out information as it relates to severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings. We won't put out anything as it relates to a watch. If there's an evacuation needed, we will tell, we'll get on the mapping system and tell a certain area that if possibly they need to evacuate, they will evacuate. We will also notify people that are in the system that there might be an emergency, a police emergency going on, or a fire emergency, to stay away from the scene or stay inside your houses. So any type of critical information that the public safety team wants to relay or the village wants to relay, we can target those specific areas within the village. As it relates to emergency type stuff on your text message and email, it's an opt-in type of system where people have to go to the website and opt in to it.
And quite frankly, we hope that a lot of people do opt into the system. Now, City Watch system can be kind of a double-edged sword kind of a situation where, many folks will say, well, you should have let us know about that. The problem comes up is that if you use the system too often, you have to use it very carefully. But if you use it too often, people are just going to get very blasé towards it. And that's one of the things that we have to be careful of, that when we do use the system, it is a true and bona fide situation where there is concern. Use it too much, people just kind of blow it off and kind of go from there. And that's a concern.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point, and that's something that, we try to relay to residents is that, a lot of time in our age of instant communication, Facebook, Twitter, different things like that, people want to see instantaneous stuff. So a lot of times you'll have, bystanders that might be by an emergency or and are twittering stuff or posting stuff on Facebook. And then they are saying, why isn't the village reacting? What people have to realize is that when we have a major incident like that, our 911 center is instantly getting flooded. Instantly getting flooded with calls as it relates to the emergency. Our priority is A, citizen safety for that given incident, getting the first responder to that incident or emergency. B, then we try to, after everything is sort of calming down, let the ancillary community know what is going on in that emergency. We don't have instantaneous ability a lot of times to send that message out because we're worried about the safety of our first responders and that citizen where they're coming to that emergency. So,
and additionally, sometimes we don't have the exact information that we want.
Absolutely.
Many times when the stuff goes out on Twitter, Facebook, what have you, it's someone's impression of what is going on.
Absolutely.
And rather than shoot from the hip, we'd rather make sure that even though it takes a bit more time, make sure that the information we do pass out is accurate information and not what somebody thinks they saw or thinks they heard, etc., that kind of thing.
And what people have to realize on that, Mayor, is that you don't call the 911 center to try to find out what's going on because all you're doing is impeding that response to the incident. We will get that information out, and if there is a threat to a community or a certain area, we will be there. We will have the first responders there to assist.
Okay. What about outdoor sirens? Sometimes we hear people say, well, I didn't hear the siren. Tell us a little bit about what the aims or objectives are with sirens.
Sure. We have 13 outdoor warning sirens, and as it says, they're outdoor warning sirens. And a lot of times we do get calls sometimes where people say, hey, I can't hear it inside of my house. Well, the bottom line is it's meant for an outdoor warning siren. Sometimes you can hear it inside of the house, but other times you can't. And those sirens...
Especially if the TV's going on or the kids are playing whatever games they play.
And we had a situation in 2013 in November when we had those straight line winds and the tornado that hit Washington, where we had some complaints of an area on the west side that had some issues with the sound of the tornado sirens. All of our sirens activated, But just like anything else, they're affected by environmental conditions. We had straight line winds in that situation of 80 miles an hour, okay? So, the sirens were activated, but as those winds were coming from the west and the southwest, they were blowing the sound, that direction. So it naturally would blow the sound away from a given area. We looked into it. We had some residents that came and talked to us about it, and we sat down and we had the company come out, and we're going to be upgrading those sirens to a little bit higher decibel level. But what people, again, have to realize is that they are outdoor, and they are meant for outdoor signaling. And the other thing is, too, when you hear those sirens, don't go out on your deck and look at the tornado coming toward you. Get inside, get some cover. That's what it's meant for. And we don't have an all clear siren. So get inside in your protective area and wait about 20 minutes. If you don't hear anything, turn on a radio, TV, if you have power, and listen. And if nothing is going on, then and come up and you can see what's going on. If you hear that siren again, seek shelter, okay? And that's happened to us a few times over the years where we've had to set off the siren multiple times within, a short time frame. So anytime you hear that siren, with the exception of the testing days, the first Tuesday of the month, seek shelter.
You brought up something that I think is very important, and that is if you turn on your radio, etc., that kind of thing. And we kind of live in a crazy society these days where disasters can be only, seconds away. How should a family prepare?
A citizen has to realize is that when there is an emergency, and we've seen tornadoes this season where it has impacted communities and in the past, there is total devastation. If it's a tornado, if it's a serious rail accident, different things like that. And what people have to realize is our responsibility as a village is the life and safety of that given incident and the people that it's directly affecting. And what we like to say is, have food, water, medicine on yourself in a storage area, good for 3 to 5 days, okay? Have a month's supply of prescription medicine if you have it. Realize that when you are impacted by such a serious disaster that, the community or the state or the county might not get to you if you're not hurt or you're not,
It's
impacted.
matter of their priorities, yeah.
So, you might be without power for a week. You might be without water for a week, until we can get our public infrastructure set back up again. So, it's important to have, 3 to 5 days at least of food, water, medicine, as I said, about a 30-day supply of medicine, and then some basic supplies, in a disaster kit.
And always make sure you have a can opener.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I actually brought, sort of.
Did you? Let's see what you got.
That we have here. Some of the things that, again, we have, just simple basic tools, It's always good to have a hammer on there just in case you have to break out anything. First aid kit.
Flashlight I see up there.
Flashlight.
Batteries.
Batteries, disposable gloves, a dust mask, different things like that. Gloves, of course, hand sanitizer, and your trusty little pocket knife. These are some of just the basic.
And probably a pocket radio.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are just some of the basic items that you should have. And it's not, fits in a backpack. Something simple that you can take with you. But, these can be some life-saving items right here. If somebody gets hurt in your house, if somebody, you need to shut off the gas line, different things like that. Flashlight, of course, little cuts and bruises with all the glass and different things like that. And, of course, gloves, so you're not going to cut up your hands. So these are just some of the basic items that you should have in addition to food and water for 3 to 5 days.
I would imagine there's some websites that you can go on to that has a list of the kind of things, if you're a family of 2, a family of 6, what you need and those kind of stuff.
Yeah, the best website to go is the ready.gov website, and that's with FEMA. And that provides various links to different organizations, Red Cross, different things like that. And they also have a sheet on there to to build your emergency preparedness kit. So it's a lot of great information there, and it's a lot of great information for kids too, that kids could go on there and see different things. I think we covered a lot. Again, if anybody has any questions, they could call our number at Emergency Management, which again is 708-444-5600, or go to the Tinley Park website at www.tinleypark.org. There's a wealth of information there to link on to police, fire, public works, and EMA websites. And we're there to ask any questions, and we welcome all volunteers.
Thank you very much, Pat. Tonight we've had Pat Carr, who's been Director of EMA with us in touch with Tinley. And we certainly hope that the folks that are watching, if you have the inclination to join EMA, it's a great group, great volunteer group, and Tinley Park is a great town for volunteers, and we hope that you take that opportunity to join us in that volunteer spirit. So Mayor Ed Zabrocki saying thanks, glad to be with you tonight, and glad to be in touch with Tinley.